So, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to the maiden voyage of Creavolution, the evolution of the creative process. I'm Aaron Gayden, and I am a bass player, singer, songwriter, keyboard player, band leader, and stuff like that. And the idea for this podcast came from a talk with a couple of the players in my band, talking about how they would approach soloing over a particular passage of one of my songs. And that kind of birthed the idea of getting songwriters, composers, players together and talking about how we do what we do. And also, eventually we'd like to get into talking to people from other arts, so visual artists, all kinds of creative folks. But I am very happy to start this thing off with one of my favorite people on the planet and one of the most humble, one of the most creative, most generous, just an awesome brother of mine, Rich Ayala.
How you doing? Thanks, Aaron. I'm so humble I almost didn't show up.
You always show up. So, Rich and I have played together for, is it coming up on about 10 years, something like that?
I hate to say it, probably at least 8 years.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And I've played for a number of times with his band, Festival Live, which is Latin jazz rock, and a lot of wonderful original music, both instrumental and vocal music from Rich right here that I love getting to play his music and sing his songs, and I just love working with you. It's just a blast and a blessing to work with you whenever we get together. It's not nearly often enough.
Nice.
Yeah.
I remember if I could say something, I remember the first time we rehearsed and we walked, we never really played together, and we auditioned Paul, the percussionist, and we had drums going, and we walked out, and I go, well, basically what I'm going to do is I've got a bunch of original material and I just want to go out and get a bunch of gigs. Your first words to me were like, I like that. You're very brave. You knew something that I didn't know. So there is the struggle of the local musician. Okay. Yeah. We work so hard at our craft. We want to get out there, and some of us may be on a different level. We want to create new stuff. And so I'm one of those guys who loves to write new music, instrumental, vocal music, just something. But my intention with that band, I'm talking about Festival Live right now, Latin rock, as I think is probably I'm most comfortable with that, because there's jazz elements there for sure, but that is definitely my area of probably least feeling at home. With guys like you, some of the other players, you guys draw it out of me. It's like I have no choice. But anyway, the idea with that band was to write music that was enjoyable to listen to, but that the musicians could stretch out. And the word of the day is just improvise. So every time we play live, we try to improvise, stretch out the songs, and read each other as musicians. And that's the fun of that band for me. But that's like a huge learning environment. I surround myself with all these musicians who I believe are just truly better musicians than myself. And the key is, if I can do that, they make me sound a little bit better. Aaron being definitely one of my main influences. And so, Aaron, it's an honor to have you on the team.
Oh man, I love it. One of the things that I love most about your writing is that you come at things from a little bit different angle. You like to take what's on the beaten path, and you like to go around it, find some hidden territory, some paths that have not been charted yet. And I really enjoy. I think it's Spanglish.
Okay.
And there's a turnaround it's usually kind of a 2-5-1 that is more typical to do. And what you did was you flipped it. You made it a 5-2 instead of a 2-5. So I mean, it's nice to see your bravery.
Well, check this out. Okay, here's my bravery. My bravery is fully exposing myself. it was written the other way. The great Robert Monteleone from the Symposium Jazz Band said, hey, can we do it the other way? He goes, the way you're doing it, he told me, he goes, sounds like a horror flick. So musically, I didn't see that. But hey, man, you know, Robert's one of my favorite players, local guy, a local, just wonderful musician. I said, sure, let's flip it. And so basically that's what we did. And so that's what it's been. So I got to give credit where credit is due.
Fair enough.
And that's it's another thing that I would like to say. I've worked with so many musicians and I've learned from so many musicians. I think a huge key of making me feel better as a creator is that I enjoy giving credit where credit is due, because I'm constantly learning from guys in the band, other musicians around, and I learn even from students that I work with. I hear someone do something that might be an accident. I call it a glorious mistake.
Yeah.
They played the wrong chord over something. I go, what did you just do there? Anyway, so my ears are always working. And in that case, someone pointed something out to me that worked out in the song, and it caught your attention. So that's cool.
Yeah. So speaking of the band situation, so I've known you will track down players from all over, and you will go to them. I don't want to make your life more difficult, but you will rehearse with any member of the band that needs it individually, so that you're very hands-on as a band leader, which is really, really cool. I can't do it because I can't do it. But
because you're in 5 bands, you're in 7 bands.
But I've always loved how you will literally go the extra miles to make sure that the things that you want to see happen come together. So what is it that makes you able to just go and do whatever it takes to bring a player along? What?
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, there's the responsibility. If I know I got a gig, I want the gig to go well. And if there's something I had written into a song that, again, the songs are very specific as far as what's musically happening, part of the satisfaction of getting out and playing that is when that part comes and there's a turnaround or there's a rhythmic interaction, it's worth it to me to help somebody else kind of learn it and experience it, so that it just comes off as more of a powerful musical statement or completion. And it just takes pressure off my back, because I look so forward to experiencing that musically. And when it happens, it's great. It's worth it. Plus, I get to know the players too. I figure if I can invest in the musicians that I'm working with, when the time of the gig comes, we're all just kind of appreciating that situation better. Well worth it to me. And and I'm learning from all the players as well as I make those trips.
Very cool. So, as far as who are your main influences as? Let's keep talking about as a writer right now for the moment.
Okay. So primarily I'm a rock guitarist. Everything else I do, that's the centerpiece. So if I'm playing Latin music, if I'm playing acoustic solo guitar, if I'm writing more of a band-oriented, what I would call symphonic rock, which I'll explain, everything kind of comes down to what I've heard. So I would just name, first of all, guitar players, Jimmy Page, my Fab Four, which it changes every day, Neil Schon, Carlos Santana, Ronnie Montrose, and from the other side of the pond, Jimmy Page.
All right.
Okay. And those bands and the way they approach music deeply affects me. When I think more of an ensemble, I think of the Santana Band, or I think of perhaps Kansas. And there's just always something there in the music. Again, a lot of this stuff, people just enjoy music and they just dig it. For me, I could point, well, this is what's happening within a song and why it captures my attention and why it influenced me. But those are my influences kind of in a nutshell right there. But I equally have on one side, if I had the opportunity to be in a cover band, which is not my passion, but if I did, I'd be in a Pat Travers cover band or a Dan Fogelberg cover band.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
So that's kind of the absurdity of this whole thing.
Yeah.
I could sit there and just tell my wife and kids, leave me alone. I got my turntable. I'm going to listen to some live Pat Travers, Leave Me Alone, or some Robin Travers. At the same time, Dan Fogelberg.
Really?
And it all affects me deeply, and it all leaves its stamp on how I write music, how I hear music first, and how I put the idea down into a song.
Very cool.
Oh, totally.
Very
I love that.
cool. And so so the project that you just released, that's kind of a rock classical kind of thing, right?
Okay, so here it is. Yeah, I got several things going here. Right now, my life is spent finishing uncompleted songs from as long as 10, 12 years ago. Some of them have you on them, the Christmas song, the Lord's Prayer. That I don't know what's ever going to happen with that, but it was so important for me to finish.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I hope somebody checks that one out, right? A couple of festival live tunes, and then I just finished contributing to an album with Jerome Mazza, who's from Florida. The man is a tsunami vocalist, incredible, and but he has a band called Pinnacle Point, and I had the opportunity to contribute music to that. And although I have a lot of music that sounds what I would call symphonic rock, the reason why I use the term symphonic rock is it's just like putting on a certain hat, and I'm going to go to work today and I'm going to work on that. But for me, deeper than that, the music literally is written out on about 5 or 6 stabs. I have violin part, piano, drums, bass, strings. So when I write the thing, on my program, I write all the notes, I hit play, and I hear it, and then I start replacing those instruments with real instruments. Yeah. So I used that approach when I wrote for that project, which I was really happy to be a part of. People should check that out. It's Pinnacle Point. Jerome Mazza leads that off. Pinnacle Point, the album's called Symphony of Mind. And nice. I got the honor of writing the title track for that.
Nice. Very nice.
I hope people check that one out. It's fantastic. But yeah, that's the approach I use. I really try to get my mind into the style of what I'm doing, immerse myself in that style, and then try to come up with music that kind of honors that whatever tradition it is. So
very cool. So now you've given your influences as far as musicians. Do you have a few more? Are there any strictly writers that don't play that have kind of captured you?
Writers that don't play, probably not. Everyone, okay, I'm learning about the Hans Zimmers and that type of thing just from going through this process of trying to find string patches for my home recording system. Yeah. And then you get just caught up in that world. But writers who are not players, that's a tough one. Who are you thinking of?
Well, you know, it's funny, as I'm asking the question, I'm thinking of my own answer. And do you know, have you met David Cobb?
The name, we've talked.
So
yeah,
Cobb and I go way, way back, years and years, to Promise Keepers when we were both down in LA. And he plays percussion and he plays a little bit of kalimba, but he primarily just writes from the point of view of a vocalist. And he's one of my favorite writers. I was out walking today and just singing one of his songs came to mind. And so he's one of my favorite non-player composers.
Non-instrument player, but he sings?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's a singer.
Yeah. And which is an instrument, yes.
Yeah. And he has to somehow match up with somebody like you who can put feet to the project, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, gosh, I'd have to think. I'm sure I've met some people like that, you know, but mostly with me, if I hear somebody with a musical idea, sometimes I can hear a whole musical passage, and all I have to do is sit down and before I forget it, play it on the guitar, or maybe hum it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes if I play the wrong chord, it's gone.
Right.
If I hear a C flat or whatever, you know, a B or whatever, minor, if I sit down with the guitar and I play the wrong chord, it's gone.
Oh yeah.
You know?
That is the worst. The worst thing is trying to get, when you get a flood, you get a download of a song come to you and you're not someplace, you you can't put it on your phone, you can't get to an instrument, and then you finally get there, and it's only half there anymore.
Yeah.
And you're reaching for it. You're trying to play it, and it's already half out of your mind before you could even bring it into life.
It's tough.
It's so frustrating.
It's tough. Yeah. But the whole songwriting process, again, I'd love to talk about that. Depending what questions you've got, I don't want to take too much time on that.
No, you go.
Okay, so primarily, this is kind of my plague. I'm a guitar player. I want to play guitar. I practice guitar. I grew up 8 years old playing guitar. In order for me to play guitar, I got to have a band. If I don't have a band, I got to have some piece of music so I can add my guitar to. What ends up happening is I spend so much time composing music, my guitar takes the back seat, which is still satisfying because, hey, got some good music here, but really all I want to do is play guitar, right?
I hear you.
So I write all this other music, and a lot of times what ends up happening is rather than the guitar being the center, the guitar plays a very necessary part within the ensemble, okay? It's no longer the lead instrument, but I get the satisfaction of hearing a finished song. Try to get closer to the mic here. So that's kind of what I'm dealing with in every musical situation. What I'm working on right now is something that just features guitar, probably only keys, a guitar, drums, and bass. Try to limit it to that. Maybe a couple of other instruments come in. So that's one thing that I want to do that I really haven't focused on. But the songwriting process, when I think song, I guess I think more with words, singing. So what ends up happening is, I was thinking about this before we got together. What comes first? The inspiration or the empty sheet of paper? Okay? I thought the empty sheet of paper came first, but actually I think the inspiration has to come first. If there's something that makes you feel a certain way and you want to remember it, I always use the term when I talk to people, how do you document your ideas? How do you document that? And what do you mean document? In other words, you're going to forget it. How do you remember what you did? So you have inspiration, whether it be a phrase out of a movie, write that down. That sometimes will be enough to help me remember an idea and then finish it up later. Next thing I'll do is I've got like 3 levels. I'm sitting in front of my computer. I got my guitar. I've got a music software writing program. I'll actually plug in the notes. And then the next thing I'll do, then I'll open up the recording situation and I'll hear it with drums. I'll add drums to it. Or I'll write out lyrics. So if I'm hitting a wall on my music, I put that down for a minute and I start working on the lyrics.
Okay.
I hit a wall with the lyrics, I get back to my guitar and what made me want to play the song anyway. So I literally have like at least maybe 3 things that I bounce back, and that keeps me engaged in the song.
Yeah.
And then the ability to document it by recording pieces of it and hitting play and even looping something. I'm talking for a half an hour here, man. Get up and make a sandwich, get up and go vacuum. And the things looping, I will come up with a melody that I believe in and usually a musical phrase, and I'll stop. And it's literally a painstaking process like that. Some people are fast. I'm not a fast songwriter. But because, like I said, my plague, I'm writing usually all the instruments.
Right.
Matter of fact, that's how we met. And I think that's one of the only reasons why I was able to maybe connect with you. I had finished multi-level samples. It sounded like, MIDI music, but I gave it to you and I said, here's my ideas. And apparently you liked what you heard, which was cool.
Absolutely.
But there's no way I would have conveyed that, or I felt like I did a better, more successful conveying that to you when I had it written out. And then it was in a format that you could hear the finished product as much as possible. That's how I operate. Whoever I'm working with, let me give you a finished product as much as possible so you can hear what I'm imagining. And it's more believable. Then I get it. I see what you're trying to do. So that's my songwriting process. And but man, you got to stick to it. I use the word follow through a lot. You have to follow through with your ideas. And then you and I have talked about this. You have to determine when it's done. Even though it's not done, it's been 5 years on this one song, it's just done.
Lay it to rest.
And then once it's released, you realize I missed something on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Always.
Yeah.
I was thinking about when you're talking about the fact that, this is a hang of mine, and I try not to be elitist about it,
Mm-hmm.
and not to be a jerk about it. But the fact that you not only did you have a lead sheet of your music, you had the bass line written out. And I mean, I read, but I'm not the world's greatest reader. But I read, and it was like someone else actually will make a lead sheet. Someone he put down the bass line, and that was a marvel to me, because that's particularly doing modern worship music. It's like chord chart is chords and words, which to me isn't,
Mm-hmm.
that's not music. We're teaching people how to not read music and how to not write music by doing that. And I understand that it assumes that you're familiar and this is just a frame of reference. But coming from my world of, okay, we got called for a gig this afternoon. Can you play? Because obviously we can't rehearse. So I chart everything. I have billions,
Mm-hmm.
it feels like billions of charts with as much information in them as possible, so that, okay, we are doing this tonight. Here's what you got. You don't have time to listen to all this because somebody dropped out at 4:00 and you got to get on the road because it's an hour away.
Yeah.
So when you came in with things to read, I mean, I fell in love with you right then.
Well, so here's the deal. The other reason why I did that is because I learned pretty fast that everyone that I wanted to work with was already in, seriously, 2 to 3, in your case, 4, 5, 6 bands, right? I go, you've only got so much time.
Yeah.
Here, I want this to count. Here's something, and this is really what I just need. And it worked for you. It doesn't work for everyone, right?
Yeah.
So most of the people, if I can make what limited time I have available with somebody as easy for them as possible,
Mm-hmm.
then they'll come back for another gig.
Yeah.
We've been working now how many years together? A long time, right?
About 8, at least a good 8. Yeah.
And then the other story is I am, again, I read and write music every day of my life, and I'm still learning. But my learning music went like this when I met Aaron, and I wanted to work with Aaron. I literally just woodshedded his music and his charts nonstop, no matter what I was doing. Had a few free minutes because I really wanted to be in the musical situation with you. You were working with me, yes, but I wanted to play your music, which was equally captivating. Leduzin, Summer's Dream, those songs, man. Those songs, in my opinion, it's just a crime that not more people hear that stuff. And actually, well, there's a line in one of the songs that I had written, and many people come to mind. But the whole thing is that there's this whole thing that you have this masterpiece, but the world may never hear it, right? And that's something that shouldn't happen. You have many masterpieces, and I'm just going, they got to be heard. So if I have anything to do with it, I'm going to learn them. Let's get them out there,
Thanks.
So that's how I feel, and so I really want, I want to experience a musical situation with people who honor my work, but in turn I want to honor your work. And then, hey, man, as time goes by, we got a great working relationship.
Yeah.
Musical, we help each other out, and you sing my stuff, and sometimes we eat breakfast together.
While we're talking about singing your stuff, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm going to put you on the spot.
Put me on the spot.
And just remind you, this cat has a voice. Your voice isn't just on your guitar. Your human throat. You got some stuff in there that's just, I love your voice, man.
Well, the way I look at it is, it's one of those levels of, if it's a demo and I need to sing on it to get the point across,
Yeah.
and somebody likes it, that's cool. You know, I used to get the wedding gigs, man.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how I ended up doing this in church. Hey, sing a song. I'll sing a song. I'm a guitar player. I start getting calls. You want to sing at the wedding? No, I don't want to sing at the wedding. Can I play guitar for your wedding? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll do what's needed. You know, sometimes I actually enjoy it, but for the most part, I really, you know, I appreciate that. It gives me confidence, you know, and I'll use the voice sometimes, but definitely, I'll have to think about that more often.
Yeah, I mean, you really don't give yourself enough credit in that regard, because you have a beautiful voice, bro. You know, it's just pure and clean and just
right on.
Yeah, I enjoy as a singer and as a listener, I enjoy listening to you sing.
Then I'm gonna sing at your wedding.
I'm
Just kidding.
gonna renew my vows.
Yeah.
Renegotiate my vows.
Gotcha.
But so let's talk about arrangement for a second. As an arranger, and it's interesting the variations of how we play together in Festival Live, where a lot of the time, you know, you don't have another harmonic instrument. It's you know, and you don't have another lead instrument, so you're covering a lot of the time where we play together. You're covering a lot of ground, and so I was interested in, you know, how do you feel about the use of silence, of, you know, negative sonic space? You know, how does...
See, this is what my wife was telling me the other day about that. Be quiet. I was kidding. You know what? I dig it because to me that means less notes, think rhythmically. Okay? So I might not play, especially say if we're doing a trio situation, and you know, for me, that's actually not even necessarily my favorite, because I like to play with somebody underneath, right? A keyboard.
Yeah.
But I'll focus on rhythm, and which is another dimension, and that becomes interesting too. Okay? Rhythm's chords, rhythm with an arpeggio, rhythm with one note, to play off the drummer, right? Give the bass player something to respond to or whatever. So that's one thing when you say open space. The other thing too is, I guess, listening to horn players. You've heard guitar player, or you've heard musicians say this before. Learning when not to play. I try to do that a lot. And of course, the first thing I do is I hear back the recording of what we did, and I think I played too many notes when I was trying to create open space. But I'm super glad you asked that question. Before I forget, I was actually thinking, I really want to answer this question if you asked it, but in arranging, okay, one of the things I love to do, absolutely love to do, is take a left turn and a sharp, abrupt turn within a song to either begin the solos or a verse or something. And I think Sketches in Motion, if anyone's ever heard, I did a solo acoustic album called Sketches in Motion, and there's a song in there when the piano takes its first solo. We're going from, I even forget what chord it is right now unless I hear it. It might be an E minor or something like that, and we go to B minor 9 or something. Anyway, it just feels like an abrupt turn in the music. I love to write that into anything that I arrange. And many songs, I can point it out. Here's where I took the left turn. I think it makes it interesting for the players, hopefully interesting for the listeners too. But it's just something that it's one thing I could say is something that I really try to do on a regular basis.
Yeah, I think you achieve that even when you think you may have played, you know, too many notes. Because often, you know, I'm recording our rehearsals, and I'll just listen back and like, that's nice. And problem with instrumental songs is the words aren't in the chorus.
Yeah.
So I think it's Festival Live. So that it's ba-dum.
Oh yeah. Unreleased song, by the way.
Bum bum bum.
Still working on that.
So just hi-hat. Ba-dum.
Yeah.
Bum bum. That's a lot of space with nothing but hi-hat going, you know?
Yeah.
And I love that. It's like, you know, there's rhythm going on, but there's a lot of open air in that tune.
Yeah, yeah.
And I dig it. I dig it.
One of the things there is there's open air right now because I'm still trying to feed the Congo player.
Yeah.
We got to give him a little job to do right there.
Yeah.
Just enough to where you think, did they miss something? Oh, there's the Congo. There's the Congo right there. There's Hector. There's Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, open space, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. I love create open space, and I love to do abrupt turns in a song. That's huge for me.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of visualizing your charts as we're talking, and I dig those harmonic left turns, and I mean because now I'm thinking about it, remembering that you did flip it back, but it's like I dug it, not
Either way,
it didn't sound like a horror movie to me.
Okay, cool.
Because I'm sick.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I love the left turns. I love the left turns you take. I love the how much space you're willing to put in the music, like Spanglish.
Yep. Yeah.
So the way you arrange, it allows for a lot of space, and I don't know if I tend to be as kitchen sink as I think I am sometimes, or not. So like, let's see, it's like Sao Paulo.
Okay, we're talking your music right now.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm curious. So from a listener's point of view, I think that's relatively. It's not terribly dense. I think there's a few things going on, but it's not extremely dense. So wait, how does that come across to you as a listener versus as a player?
Yeah, I think the breaks, the part that I always anticipate in the middle of the song, maybe you know what I'm talking about. Everything leading up to that, and after that, there's a lot of opportunity for. And again, I think percussion, right? I play drums. I'm not a drummer. But I think percussion-wise, there's a lot of room for the drummer to beef up the rhythm without being too busy, which gives, I think, the opportunity for maybe me on a rhythm guitar to do a little staccato, kind of picking muted stuff that I've heard. Kind of Al Di Meola, as a fan of Al Di Meola. Here's an opportunity for something like that. I always look for those opportunities. That one has space for sure. That song has space. And there's moments where there's a high point, and there's a moment where you're cruising on the way out of that song. I always dig playing that song. I always want to try to get it right. Your songs are important to get right for me too. I'll have a little talk with the drummer. I'll have a little talk with somebody. Hey man, that change is coming up. We got to get this change, because we don't always rehearse because everyone's busy, right? We get together. We might, if we're lucky, rehearse one time before a gig. And then we'll go. But there's certain things like that I always want to address, right? I would say that about several of your songs. That one is definitely one of my favorite. Leduzin, I want to talk a little bit I don't know how much time we got here, but I want to make sure.
Till you're done.
Okay. I want to make sure we talk about your stuff because, quite honestly, Aaron, when I was looking at your charts, which were very well done, I had to do my homework. But the charts were well done, gave me plenty to work with. Combined with listening to the music, it's not all about reading music. It's about learning the song on paper, learning when, and then kind of just setting that aside. And then I like to keep my eye on other musicians while we play live. Maybe I do that a little bit too much.
No, I don't think you can communicate with each other too much.
Okay, well, check this out. Because I grew up going to Santana concerts. And Carlos always had his back to the audience because he was conducting the band. So I got a little bit of Carlos-itis there. But for me, it's exciting to see the musicians play.
Oh, absolutely. But
I want to know where somebody's solo is going. I see them building up, and I want to kind of respond to that.
Yeah.
But I crave that in other musicians, man. Yeah. If someone's in the band, I hope they're looking up and paying attention to me, and I hope they're really listening. Right? Because that means hopefully people checking out in the audience are feeling the energy as well. Maybe somebody just want to dance, which is cool, right? They're dancing, go ahead and take a longer solo, all right? So that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, that interaction. But on your music, man, I look for opportunities to really capture the way it was written. The one song that I don't think we ever got to play live, and I was dying to play it, was Summer's Dream.
Yeah,
I rehearsed the heck out of that song. I called Grant Reeves. What would you play over this one chord, man? And he told me.
Yeah, you know what? That's literally the song that is the birthplace of this whole thing. Because Krista and Mark were talking about the solo section.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I did was I have that suspended. I think it's a A flat sus to B flat sus, and the bass line is moving. And it gets a little grindy a couple times, right?
It
and
pushes you, man.
Yeah, so Krista was asking, Mark, how do you approach that section right there? Because it's a pretty serious riff.
I think that's the chord I called Grant on.
Yeah, I bet.
And
Yeah.
Grant's going, "Who's rich?" I called him a long time ago when we were somewhat in the same circle musically, right? But he answered the question on that chord. And what did he say? Is the altered? Man, what's the chord? It's the super low Korea. I don't know, whatever it is. He just
I don't know my modes like
it's just that.
Them at home.
And I go, okay, man. Cool. So I just went home and I ran that.
Yeah,
I ran it in 1 octave. Then I ran it in 2 octaves. Then I ran it horizontally. And I said, when that part comes up, I'm gonna go, Aaron, check this out. What did we do next? We went into some other song. I go, it was on the set, man. This was out in Sutter Creek.
Okay, gotcha.
Sutter Creek. Gotcha. Hey, man, it was a fun gig, but I go, what happened to that song? So when we get together again, we're going to open with that song.
All right.
And then we're going to close with that song. So
bookends.
Just in case. Bookends.
I love it.
Yeah, there you go.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so your music has taught me a lot, so much about, harmony, rhythm. And the thing is, I want to say you're a guy, when you write music, it is, what's the word I'm thinking? I'm not good with grammar, but there's no trying to be something you're not. What is it, pretentious? There's no pretension in your music or something. It's real, man. And I'm going, I definitely want to participate in this. You know what I mean? So that's, why even at home, we don't have a gig. I'll listen to your music because if your phone rings, I want to be ready, right?
Oh, and you always are.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's absolutely the case, and yeah, so many of your songs. Saturn.
That's a fun one.
What's the name of that one?
Saturn Rain.
Saturn Rain. Yeah.
It's literally about the car and about the fact that the car company Saturn has existed and no longer exists. And I love Saturns. We owned 3 over the years, so I got to see the entire Saturn Rain.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was as they were going down, you were just proclaiming Saturn reigns.
They did
in a way, right?
And then they didn't. It's both. It's both.
Okay, gotcha.
Because we loved our Saturns. So
now I can lean into that song a little bit more. That much
little
more
backstory on it.
But all those songs, they breathe. They have good beats, And again, when we get into a musical situation, you're a very good guy to work with because when you're working with Festival Live, which essentially, I guess I'm the musical director of that band, right? But here's the thing. Working with guys like you, I do not ever feel like I need to demand that. You're the type of musician who comes in and we're working together. And if anything, I need to tell, hey, Aaron, man, just go ahead and cut loose on this section because you're very respectful to a guy to work with. So that's been great. And again, when we work together, I try to do the same thing.
Oh, yeah, dude. It's and it's kind of the thing that every band leader wants. Hopefully every band leader wants to be the kind of band member that they would want in their own band.
There you go.
That it's like, let me give you everything you need on this song and let me not get in your way of your vision because, especially your songs. And you know what? Another thing that's super, super cool is the fact that you've made a point to do my songs in your set. So I get to hear your take on my music and get to be a part of it. And that's a blast too.
There you go.
Yeah. And for the time where I let you down, I am sorry. that
one half time.
but you're, you know, that's, I love working with you. So I was bummed that I thought I had that thing down and I missed it.
Hey, you know, there's this thing, and I got to say, I've done the same, but I probably turned down my volume and gave you more space. I don't know the chords, man. I'm turning it down, Aaron. I'm being a mature, seasoned musician right now.
I can't do that as a bass player. It's like,
yeah,
the bass drops out.
Exactly. But you know, again, we all love music. We love playing, even though right now that's not really happening. At least we can do.
God.
This is fun.
Yeah,
this is gratifying. But being live and taking chances, I think you're the king of taking chances, and I'm the wannabe king of taking chances, right? There's curveballs that I'll throw at you live, and I don't want to say I'm trying to mess you up. Maybe I'm trying to make you laugh, and you just give me that Fred Hammond look on the face, like, what else you got? And I'm like, man, what did I get myself into here, man?
Oh,
you know
my gosh.
So that's part of the music styles that we do, right?
Yeah.
Coming from again, I'm a rock blues musician who loves fusion jazz, but I know my place. You're a guy who I feel like is covered even rock and roll, man. You're a rock and roller at heart, you know?
Yeah, well, you know, they called me Black Angus. And
yeah, I remember you saying
back in the day.
Yeah.
Huge. I mean, guitar is my favorite instrument. So that's yeah, funny, and I like, there's no such thing as too much guitar.
There we go. All
you know,
right.
there's no such thing as too many different twisted guitar tones. So let me throw this. Doug Knopfsinger. So when I was down in LA, I was in a band with Doug, and then he came down and he worked with me at the church I was working at, and recorded, you know, while I was in LA, up until when I moved out of LA, he recorded probably, you know, 95% of all the guitars on anything I ever did while I was down there. And on one of the songs we did on our worship album was called "Show Me the Way," and so he does 3 distinct parts with 3 distinct tones. So you got this really twisted, so it's three just, I mean, they literally overlap on the recording. And I'm like, dude, just pick whatever, you know, just pick a part and do what you can, right? What he did was hold on for a second. So he's looking down at his pedal board, stomping around a little bit. And then, okay, let's do it. And so I got to find the recording because he got that funky, crunchy, you know, chorus and whatnot, crunch tone. Then he got the straight Paul Jackson thing going. And then he got the other twisted leadish tone for the line. And everything that didn't literally overlap, he pulled it off live. It was coolest thing.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And yeah, so guitar. All the things that guitar is. All the things that guitar is. Yes. All the things it is. Yes. All the things is what I'm all about. So top 5 either lead guitarist or top 5 solos or a combination thereof. And before I forget, I wanted to say this before talking about space. Yeah. I'm going to give it's not necessarily my favorite solo of all time, but it's my favorite Lukather solo of all time. It's Won't Hold You Back.
Oh, okay.
Because it's just
it's like somebody singing.
And the fact that he does that phrase and then he does it again with the French horns and so
yeah. Oh man, yeah.
It's like I'm pretty sure it's the least notes he's played in a solo.
Wow, yeah.
But it's like, dude, that's all it needed.
Yeah.
But so that's cool. That's probably my top 5 of all solos, but it's definitely my top 5 Luke solo.
Yeah.
So your top 5 either lead
Man.
guitarists or
Well,
solos or combination thereof.
My Desert Island guitar album,
Okay.
without any hesitation, is instrumental. There's not even any vocal on
Uh-huh.
it. Ronnie Montrose, Open Fire.
Okay.
Okay. You may have never heard of it. I don't know.
No, I haven't.
In between the Montrose with Sammy Hagar
Uh-huh.
and before he did Gamma,
Okay.
which was another one of my favorite albums, he did this, and it was my first concert. I saw
Okay.
AC/DC, and I think Ronnie Montrose was on this solo tour, opened for him. Steve Smith, Jean-Luc Ponty's Journey was on drums.
Mhm.
And anyway, Ronnie Montrose, that was my favorite. So probably Town Without Pity. Okay. You know,
Okay.
I learned that as a kid, still practice it today
Gotcha.
to make sure my vibrato's on key, right?
Gotcha.
Okay. I would say, I'd almost say anything by Carlos Santana, but primarily maybe something off the Marathon album. And it's hard to say. I have to talk an album, right?
Yeah.
Neil Sean, again, Neil's my guy. Probably anything off of Evolution, City of the Angels,
Okay.
just the tone of his guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And Neil's the kind of guy who can play a ton of notes and it doesn't sound like he's overplaying, especially during that era. It's almost like saxophone players can get away with doing runs, and it doesn't. You're just showing off. I always viewed Neil Sean as the guitar player who could play a bunch of notes and it just worked. It wasn't like he was trying to be super chops. It just worked.
It just, yeah.
Another one, so that's 3, right? I think, yeah. Number 4 would be live Robin Trower album. I Can't Wait Much Longer. He does this one bend as a little kid. What's an 8-year-old kid doing getting chills listening to whatever it was? I was a little guy, and there's a bend on there. The guitar just sounds so amazing. And to this day, when I practice bends, I think and I hear that, and I go, I want to kind of capture some of that. And there's probably many more that I could think of. I'd probably go into maybe George Benson off of Affirmation. He does what I call the impossible guitar part. It sounds like, I don't know, his guitar just starts spinning and these notes just happen. And to this day, I was just working on that with somebody the other day. I go,
nice.
I don't know how he does that. I don't know how George did that. I'd like
George
to ask
is
George.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
For
George
real.
would say, I don't know how I did it. I was feeling it at the moment, man.
Yeah.
You know?
He's felt some serious moments in his day.
Yeah.
Man.
George Benson. So, you know, there's a lot more I could say, you know, but man, I'm leaving people out. Frank Marino from Mahogany Rush. I remember staying up till 1:30 or 2 in the morning when I was a little kid again, probably 9, 10 years old, watching it on TV because that's the only time you could see good concerts.
Yeah.
Was at the midnight special or when Cal Jam, watching that in amazement, you know, just anyway, so I can go on and on about that stuff.
Oh, I'm for it. So this is my number 1 is every live version of Purple Rain that Prince has ever played that I've seen. I could just stack every version of Purple Rain back to back and just listen for hours.
Yeah.
Man, that, yeah. And gonna give a shout out to Alex Kochkin. I don't know if I've ever said his name correctly, but we had a gig the weekend after Prince died. We'd already rehearsed, and then he died. I think it was a Thursday, and we're playing Saturday. And I'm like, we got to do Purple Rain. Alex, just go get it. Just he
nailed it,
burned it down. It was a beautiful homage.
Right,
it was everything that should have been. It was
That's cool.
It was wonderful.
All right, sorry I missed that one, man.
Yeah, it was one where you wish it would have been recorded because it was just like it was just fire. So all the Purple Rains. Give Me the Night, because it's just I love him doing scatting and you know scatting his solos.
Yeah,
and it's like I don't remember if I could, because I don't play guitar, but I can pick out a melody, and it's like it's just this. it's not this complicated monster thing.
That thing? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
my
I probably
gosh,
never
yeah.
could play that.
Yeah.
But I don't. It sounds like it's Frank Zambello.
Gimbali?
No. Am I saying his name wrong? Michael Zambello
Oh, okay.
on the Jacksons' Heartbreak Hotel.
Mm.
And that's another. It's not a complicated solo, but
Oh.
that one I could actually play back,
Okay.
during the day. So that's 3. Won't Hold You Back, and probably Robin Ford on
Ooh.
Ricky Peterson's
Okay.
Put Your Faith in Me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's I can get a bunch of Eddie.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I think I asked you this before. I still don't know. I probably should just. Who played the guitar solo on the Earth, Wind, and Fire song, Can You Fall in Love with Me? Or
Well, Al McKay, I guess was.
I
Al
don't
McKay.
know, man.
I don't know.
Whoever played the solo on this,
Is it just?
it was like one of the untouchable guitar solos.
Man, I don't even.
Beyond anything I've heard. I mean, if it was him, then
He's
man.
in the zone, huh?
It was crazy, man.
David Cobb knows.
Okay, well, we'll have to ask him. Man. Wow, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Totally crazy.
So I probably better let you wrap up. I hate to, because I just love hanging with you. It's been 5 ever and a half.
We could do it again, man. We could do it again sometime.
Yeah. So
Talk technical recording situation. I would love to cover some of that next time.
Yeah.
Actual recording.
Yes, sir. So this is Creavolution, the evolution of the creative process. Rich Ayala, thank you so much, not just for being here tonight, but for being you in my life. You're a beautiful brother, and you're as wonderful a friend as you are a musician, and possibly even more. It's hard to keep the rank straight because you rock either side of it.
Thank you very much. Here's your $5, by the way.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great whatever this is.